So, if you're flying into San Jose del Cabo anytime soon, you are absolutely going to want to see this. We're about to break down a pretty serious documented issue with customs agents there. But more importantly, we're giving you a clear, step by step toolkit to protect yourself from a very specific and nasty shakedown. Just imagine for a second you've just landed, you're exhausted from the flight, and a customs agent starts yelling this at you. Now, this isn't some made up story. It's a direct quote from one traveler's nightmare 5-hour ordeal, and it's part of a pattern that was reported throughout 2025 and 2026. This is exactly the kind of intimidation tactic this whole explainer is designed to help you shut down. Okay, so let's put you right in that moment. The stress is through the roof, you have no idea what's going on, and all you want to do is get to your hotel. What you do in these first few moments is absolutely critical. It can be the difference between you walking away or getting forced to pay hundreds of dollars in a completely bogus fine. All right, first things first. It is so important to understand that these incidents are not just random strokes of bad luck. Traveler reports, advocacy groups, they've all documented a really clear pattern of what they call predatory inspections at SJD Airport. This has been a known systemic issue for a while now. So what's the goal here? Well, at its core, the scam is really just a simple bet. The agent is betting that you, the tired tourist, will pay a cash fine on the spot rather than risk a huge delay, missing your shuttle, and getting into some complicated bureaucratic nightmare. They're literally banking on your exhaustion. So what kind of things put a target on your back? Well, as you can see, agents are looking for some pretty specific items. High-end electronics like GoPros and laptops are prime targets. Vapes, well, those are actually illegal to import, so that gives them some easy leverage. And even just having a bunch of different devices or a lot of supplements can be enough to draw some unwanted attention. Okay, so you know the what and the why. Now let's get into the how. The agents who run this shakedown, they use a very specific two-part playbook. It's all designed to invent a problem out of thin air and then pressure you into a quick cash solution. Step one in their playbook is something called predatory valuation. This is where they'll take, say, your 3-year-old GoPro that's maybe worth $100, and they'll claim it's a professional cinematic device worth $1,500. It's absurd, right? But by inventing this crazy high value, they suddenly have a reason to claim you owe a ton of import taxes. And once they've created that fake problem, that's when they bring out the hammer. It's called the sequestration threat. This is where they tell you that unless you pay this fine right now, in cash, they're going to confiscate your stuff, your laptop, your camera. It's a pure fear tactic, designed to make you panic and just pay up. But, and this is the most important part, this is where you can flip the script entirely. See, the whole scam depends on keeping things informal, verbal, and off the books. So your most powerful weapon is to do the exact opposite. Force everything into an official, documented process. It's a strategy that's actually rooted in a legal principle called the derecho de petición, which basically says officials have to give you formal written responses. And this slide just lays it out perfectly. The agent wants everything on the left side: verbal threats, untraceable cash, no record. You need to drag them, kicking and screaming, over to the right side: written rules, official credit card payments, and a paper trail. You see, corruption loves the shadows of informality, but it just withers under the bright light of an official procedure. Okay, enough theory. Let's get really practical. You're at the customs table, the agent is starting their little playbook. We're going to walk through a step-by-step toolkit with the exact phrases you need to use to take control of the situation and stand up for your rights. The process is actually pretty straightforward. 4 steps. First, and this is key, stay calm and state your case clearly. Second, show them that you know the real rules. Third, and this one is the secret weapon, you insist on doing everything officially, especially when it comes to payment. And then fourth, if they still don't back down, you escalate by saying you're going to call your consulate. And these right here, these are the magic words. Write these down, have them on your phone, whatever you need to do. Saying these are used personal items actually references the customs law. Citing the official camera allowance shows you've done your homework. But this third one, what we call the receipt trap, is the real game changer. You demand a boleta de pago, an official receipt. They can't just pocket that money. And finally, announcing you're calling your consulate, well, that's pretty much checkmate. So here's a super important number to burn into your memory. Every single person has a duty-free allowance of $500 for additional stuff you bring into the country. But here's the key. Your used personal items, your laptop, your 2 allowed cameras, they do not count towards this limit. That is a critical distinction they will try to blur. Okay, and this is a huge, huge warning. Under all that pressure, an agent might shove a form in front of you and say it's just for a voluntary payment. Do not sign it. These forms can be worded to make it look like you're admitting to smuggling or contrabando, or that you're intentionally trying to dodge taxes. It can cause way bigger problems. You can just politely but firmly refuse. All right, let's say the worst happens. Despite your best efforts, they intimidate you, and you end up paying a fine you know is bogus. Well, listen, the fight is not over. There are specific official channels you can and should use to file a formal complaint after the fact. This table shows you exactly where to go. ANUM is the main customs agency. The SFP is the federal group that investigates corruption, and the OIC is basically the airport's own internal affairs department. The most important thing here is that all of these routes go above the local staff you dealt with, so your complaint actually gets to a higher authority. Now, to make your complaint stick, you have to be specific. Details are your best friend here. Try to get the agent's name, even if you think it's fake. Get a good physical description, and most importantly, get the number of the inspection table where it all went down. With the date and time, the airport can use shift logs to figure out exactly who was working at that station. So as we bring this all together, the main theme that runs through every piece of advice here is actually pretty simple, but it's incredibly powerful. When you're in this kind of confrontation, knowledge really is your best shield. Let's be really clear about this. The entire shakedown is a house of cards. It's built on one single assumption, that you are scared, confused, and you don't know the rules. The second you show them that you know the law, that you know the official process, their power just evaporates. You are no longer an easy target. And I'll just leave you with this one final thought to chew on. When you're standing at that customs counter, what truly holds more weight? The random made-up verbal claim of one agent who's trying to pressure you, or the official written law of the country that you can literally pull up on your phone? I think the answer is pretty clear. Travel safe and travel prepared.